general teamfight plan is going to be use the Winter's Curse on Tiny or the Axe, whoever's in the front lines, and TA is going to be blinking past. This is almost like either TA or Lion, probably both getting blink, and find the IO. Deal with the IO in the back lines, while Tiny gets disabled and locked down, slash the Axe. Axe is also a big problem here in the front lines. Through the Winter's Curse as well as the Line disables. Killing Wisp is always, I mean, everyone says that you got to kill the Wisp, not the Tiny, but having heroes to do so is always the troublesome part.
Oh, we get to pull out a Clinks now from Ehome. So we get their final core on the field. This pushes Zeus into a support role. And I'm missing stuns. Apart from, like, you got a core, you got an avalanche and toss, and that's all you've really got to write about here. So the control up against here, like a Templar Assassin, isn't much. Maybe it's a very good reason why, then again, maybe NewBee Young a bit sad that Storm's being banned out in this.
They're just going to be very reliant on the ROTK initiations. Every time he gets a blink call off, you've got to kill whoever's getting called. And defensive-wise, NewBee Young, they have the Winter Wyvern who can try use the heal to save him, but there's a lot of magic damage. Zeus, Tiny combo. At least the mid-game should be fine for Ehome to get kills. Once that Axe gets blinked, they could really look to snowball off of that, despite not having many stuns or lockdown beyond the call.
I'm interested with the Slark pick. The Slark pick is the last one, because he's one of these things where like, you're not going to see a Clinks coming at you. So you're going to get caught with, if Clinks can get the Orchid, then... like,
well, you know he's... Well, if you're farming the jungle as Slark or somewhere where you think you're missing...
Yeah, then you lose your ulti.
You lose your ulti. So in some ways, it's not bad against Clinks, but I mean, that's very situational.
Yeah, but if he's on a lane or if he's like anywhere normally visible, the Clinks can wait and pounce on you. So yeah, it's... And you could also just think it's a ward at one point. Like, you're not going to be saying, I think the Clinks might go on me, he triggers Dark Pack straight away, and the Clinks like, sweet, I'll wait till it's over, and then I'll hit Orchid.
I'm not sure if... And Clinks these days aren't even going for Orchid quite as much, it seems.
So what's the build we're looking at?
I've seen DPS rushes, Desolator. I have fears when he was playing it throughout the summit was going for a Helm of the Dominator rush because you can dominate creeps, it gives it 500 bonus HP, and then you death pact it and you get a ton of extra HP and damage. The other added benefit of doing it that way is you can use it at the start of a fight rather than have to run out of the jungle. You waste half of your ultimate timer and then you get to come out.
So you become a lot more time efficient with it all. Yeah, I remember watching that one. I actually remember when you guys were talking about it. I think it was Cinder, and Cinder was just like, you're there and you're discussing the item pickup for like 10 minutes. And I can't remember who it was. Just like, man, that's a really stupid item. And then Cinder's like, wait, can't you just do this?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so genius.
We stole the Helm of Iron Will, and for some reason we're like, is it Dominate? It's like, I don't think Dominate makes sense. Then we're like, could be an armlet. And we started theory crafting armlet with Death Pact. It's like you turn the armlet on, and then when your Death Pact wears off, you get the HP back that you lost. It's genius. And then no, it's just Helm of the Dominator. It made a whole lot more sense. Well, we definitely over-theory crafted the hell out of it.
Well, we'll see what China does with it at least. I'm assuming they were also watching the summer games anyway, so...
Yeah, I imagine those were games they're keeping a close eye on with big matches for them coming up, but... I like the Clinks pick. I think they have enough lockdown with the Axe and control around him that Clinks is a hero that's just going to be looking to control the mid-game, wreak havoc, while the Tiny farms up for the late game.
I like how NewBee Young are doing this, but at the same time, I'm also watching Pierre being chased down here, so the Avalanche, he just pounced himself away. Doesn't mean he did level up, pounce at level 1, but I suppose 6 of one, half a dozen of the other of what's really great. But NewBee Young, last time they did this, they did it to actually grab both runes, or attempt to grab both runes. I should have said that wasn't them, that was Old Boys that actually did that. Take it all back. But they moved 5 players in through the jungle, made it look like they're running an aggro tri-lane or just adding a lot of pressure, and then they moved majority of their forces, 4 of them, up and took out the top rune. So they secured both bounties. In this case, though, it'll be the Wisp as well as the Templar Assassin who get it. So we've already got DDC's bottle coming out to him. So joyful on that one. And that means the Templar Assassin's going to have a pretty hard time.
This top lane's going to be really rough for the Slark, I feel. He's up against the dual lane, or at least at the moment. It looks like Lamb is head up there. He's going to body block the creep pull, then drop a sentry ward. So, especially because he's gone... And it doesn't really matter what you skill level 1 against this, but...
He missed it. The sentry was too south, and he missed the body block.
That is... that's unexpected from Lamb, of all players.
Or was he trying to get it in the tree and then just click down?
I think he's going for that really... There's that like really nice spot right above that little ramp where you put it, it gives great... I mean, where you put Observer...
You're looking in here, right?
Just no, it's like right here, like tiny bit up and left from where it is. He's slight misclick, I'd say, but we'll see if it matters. For now, the line's going to have his work cut out just helping out Slark in lane.
This bottom lane is actually like... That's really painful for a Clinks. He got hit by Decay, and then he got hit by the Arctic Burn. Now, this is kind of like the crap side about the Winter Wyvern, because that's where it all stops. Like, so, wonderful, Clinks drops down low, he munches on 2 tangos, and then he's already back to exactly where he wants to be. Sitting in front of the Undying. But this is one of these lanes where the Undying is able to find a lot more CS.
Yeah, and Undying is going to be left alone now. I think Winter Wyvern recognized that TA is not going to have a good time in this mid lane, and has decided to rotate mid, probably use at least 1 Arctic Burn, maybe even a couple to help out the solo mid of SCC, who's been such a key player for NewBee.
I'm actually surprised he ran when he did, because he was visible to Ehome for a moment when he crossed the back lines then. So he could have actually waited out and then just being a missing factor on the map. So the Tiny and Wisp may not know 100% where he is, but because he was moving that way, now Ehome know, or should know, that he's headed up towards the top lane.
I guess from his point of view, it's like, well, I'm not actually ganking or getting a kill. Definitely Wiz Tiny with a TA who's level 2, level 3.
There's an opening. It's Lanham. Yep. So he's going to start to burn up right now, and this is first blood with the following stun. The Slark, they want to give it to him. Actually, no, because they waited too long. The Axe kills off Lion, and ROTK will get the first blood here.
It's a nice decision from ROTK to level up Battle Hunger there, because he was not getting any spins when he's being ignored, and ROTK with first blood is almost got his Tranquil Boots up now. This is going to be a very menacing Axe, despite the fact NewBee are now going to commit to a tri lane up top against him.
This Templar Assassin's having a lot of troubles in mid. Like, she's sitting at 3 CS right now to the 11-6 of the Tiny. So CTY is getting so much momentum, not only just like on top of the Templar Assassin, but it's also with DDC. So he doesn't care about like Refraction, Avalanche, with the multiple hits it gets from that as well as the Wisp harassment. You're never going to keep defensive Refraction up for long in that mid.
He's just going to have to bottle Crow. He's just using the Refraction more for damage and last hits at this point, it feels like, in some ways. But overall, the lanes are not too terrible for NewBee Young. Like, bottom lane, this Clinks is getting nothing. Because he had to go Skeleton Walk level 1, he has not been able to find any farm against Undying, who just spams up Decay, has great base damage. He's sitting on 76 damage to the Clinks' 49. He can use Searing Arrows, but Undying's just huge right-click and has led to him getting a lot of denies as well as farm for himself and zone out this Clinks.
NewBee has been pushing this for so long, trying to find an opening. They have the Observer Ward inside the lane, which makes it a little bit more possible for this, and they just want Lanham. And there's your leash. That's what they were searching for. Got to follow up with a stun from Lion, but the call actually stops it. The Impale cannot come out, and the spins are just there. They don't want to attack the ROTK because then he just spins and kills them to death. And that's exactly what ended up happening, so the Lion will end up dropping.
Yeah, Wyvern couldn't get his Arctic Burn onto the Zeus in the backlines. Maybe decide to change targets there, but bit of a miscoordination from NewBee Young, and just, I think, getting too overzealous to try and find a kill and make something happen when they just need to be playing a bit more slowly and passively. Yeah, you've got a 3v2 matchup, but the way to win this lane is just going to be trying to harass and zone them out, not overcommit for kills against an Axe.
This Clinks, I feel so sorry for him. Yeah, Axe, like RTK is getting wonderful things up on this top lane, but the Undying is such a dangerous hero to have this level of farm on. And Ehome know this because they're the ones who ended up with like a 7-for-1 Undying previously. Looks like the top lane, the call's going to be in here, and they're just attacking. That armor, they're actually going to find the kill. It will be on Slark. Zeus is meant to take it, so give that man some levels, take it away from ROTK. Lanham, there's not enough mana anymore to kill off the... actually, yeah, there is, because he had the help from the creep wave. The follow-up stun from the Lion, he just doesn't have enough. 24 is what the Winter Wyvern will drop down to.
Nice play by Wyvern, using that tree line perfectly to juke that meme on mid lane. Toss stun.
With the dust, they got the vision still, so there was no way to hide. That's what's actually brought him out of the meld. And Slark, well, he's already used his pounce, and while DDC doesn't have any regeneration left, he tethers up when they run away.
That was a nice attempt by Piao, going for the TP in, but not getting the kill means he's now suddenly stuck in mid lane where he doesn't really want to be. He cannot lane against the tiny mid lane. One stun toss combo is just going to blow him up with his low base HP, so he's going to make his way back top fairly soon, which means his TP mid has not been the most successful.
And CTY is just ripping everything apart. Yeah. This, I think, is probably more concerning than the Undying, even though he is a problem.
It's an Undying. It's not a hero that's going to carry towards the late game. He can do really well in the mid game, but if he's not finding team fights, if he just stays in this bottom lane and doesn't come to fights, doesn't offer anything to his team, you're totally okay with the Clinks getting completely crushed in lane.
Yeah. You're not happy with the TA being crushed, NewBee Y. They need to buy her space. More than anything else, they need to buy TA space. I don't know if there's no stacks in the jungle. So we can't just use Side Blaze to farm up. We're not looking at any Ancient stacks as well. So there's no injection of like catch-up money available to them. The stun's going to miss on bottom lane, so that was an attempted kill on the Clinks. But he's just living and waiting until the right time is like the right time to strike.
And Clinks he has Soul Ring coming out on the courier soon. He can use that to just kind of jungle a little bit once he hits level 6. And it's an amazing farm, but considering he's not getting anything in lane, that's some decent catch-up. This is the big problem, though. Right now, NewBee Young, they've rotated their lanes. They send the Undying top to deal with the pesky Axe. They get the Slack, the easier lane against Clinks, but they've only got a small timing window where they can farm and have some breathing room, and that's until Axe gets blinked. Once Axes blink, they cannot farm anywhere on the map without fear.
SCC's in a lot of trouble. Zeus might be dying at the moment. I'm still watching the Templar Assassin stuck inside a Mel, but they've got Dust. They'll drag her out of it. And Templar Assassin actually killed off by the creep wave that was there. Zeus was the one who died up on the top lane, so...
I think maybe didn't spot the Undying rotation towards top and just came out, caught him mid by surprise. But this is the... I mean, getting one kill on the kind of support Zeus is not going to cut it for the Undying at this point. He needs to get a lot more done for his team.
DDC is preparing for attacks on the bottom lane. He may actually find himself a haster and just use it to get that ward down the bottom lane and then come straight back into the mid to help out CTY. But this at least lets the Clinks know when there's multiple heroes preparing to kill him on bottom.
And Clinks is hit level 6 now. He's going straight into the jungle. He's just going to start death pacting this big creep probably. Doesn't even need to go gank with the bonus damage and HP. He's probably just going to farm a few camps, and at some point with maybe some basic items, some treads, we'll go look to gank a little bit, but he's sitting okay, even with the poor CS in lane.
Well, they're moving down. I don't know if they scouted out the rotation here of Lion, but that's exactly what this Clinks is chasing after. Oh, way to safety.
Yeah, won't get the kill, but Clinks head back towards bottom lane, and Slark not going to have a fun time laning against Clinks now that Deathpack's in play.
RTK showed himself for half a second. He gets burnt and killed off by the Undying Tombstone. He's looking for more spins, but is not going to find it. And Undying committed everything. Like, they saw him for a fraction of a second and then just threw out the Golem, the Tombstone, the Decay, the Rip, everything they had.
Really, I mean, these are good heroes for dealing with tanky heroes on the side of Ehome. You've got Decay taking away their strength, you've got the % damage of Arctic Burn, and the Flesh Golem, which amplifies the damage up. So decent heroes for dealing with an Axe, and that's an important kill considering he was getting to work on that Blink Dagger.
We should also flag what's at stake here. So, NewBee Young, are they having a crack?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, with the dust on the Clinks. I don't think they've got enough time though to find these kills, especially now that ROTK's arrived. Looking for the Battle Hunger to get that movement speed up on him. You won't be able to reach him before they get to the tower though.
Yeah, just too much HP with the death pack.
But there's so much up for grabs with this game. Like, Ehome at this point, they're pretty much guaranteed a tiebreaker. They're looking for number one though. If they can take a 2-0, then they go directly through into the winners bracket final. That's what they're fighting for right now.
Yeah, and it does look like it's just two teams in the race for the playoffs in this Group A with EP as well as Ehome, but like you say, getting first place makes your life a lot easier come playoff time. Because especially CDEC over in the other group looking especially dominant, having taken out HGT 2-0 already.
Yeah, that's really tight with CDEC, Wings, as well as HGT.
That is the group to watch at this point, in some ways. It is going to be very tense all the way through that last game.
This really is just coming down to see who can take what where.
Dying in the lane to some Clinks arrows.
They've been harassing him out for a while now.
This is Clinks with no farm, no items, just Death Pack Soul and the Soul Ring. Just gives you so much sustain in lane and so much killing potential. Or in this case, just zoning, but that's more than enough for him.
He also had a little bit of help from Zeus. Zeus was down there and he rotated back in towards the mid, so he was throwing out a couple of bolts towards him, and then combining it with the Clicks. They forced the pounces out, so then he doesn't want to come anywhere near the lane again, because there's no repositioner, there's no escape mechanism apart from triggering what is now your ultimate.
I think the big thing for Ehome is still going to be getting that Axe Blink online. He had such a good start, but it's still going to be looking like kind of a standard, maybe 12, 13-minute Blink Dagger timing for ROTK after his recent couple of deaths, which is going to slow down Ehome a little bit.
Slark, gotta be really careful. He just used the Dark Pack, the Avalanche. It hits him on the second hit, and then they toss him up to the high ground to allow ROTK to go in for the call, which means you're not going to be running away from this. The Templar Assassin wants to come in to help out, but the Axe Dunk's going to go to work, which gives CTY the buff. He won't chase it any further than this, however. But that was a haster in TA that could not stop the kill.
That was nice play by CTY, baiting the Slark back in. Even Slark did what he could to kind of get the pounce out after the Avalanche, timed the Dark Pack pretty well, but just hung around way too long against the Tiny.
It didn't help too the fact that Zeus was able to leech out level 6 from this top lane. So it was able to give out that Thunder God's Wrath to help out. ROTK is so close to this Blink Dagger. And, well, who needs a Blink Dagger when you got yourself a Tiny? They just toss him in and then go for the Avalanche, get through the refraction charges. He's in range for a dunk, but there's no mana available for it. Doesn't matter anyway. The Io will kill him off until Winter Wyvern comes in for the revenge. And maybe they got some more here. The Slark being tossed up. A Finger of Death is up for the Lion. And that allows her to finish off the combo, and maybe even more. ROTK lets off for the call, gives him the armor. It's not enough to stay alive. 3 heroes lost, and CTY just actually comes back in. It's not enough damage. Went down to 44 on the Slark with the toss from CTY. But they actually managed to get Tiny to burn a buyback.
That was really big fight for NewBee Young. That's a big victory for them.
Clinks. They
know they're going for the kill. They're going to dust. They're trying to use the Slark ultimate to figure out exactly where the Clinks is. Piao's going to ping out soon, probably say, hey, look, something's nearby. Or he doesn't know now because he's fighting in.
These arrows, the searing arrows isn't enough. They're going to tether over. The Wisp Spirits might be able to kill him off, but he's on the run. There's your Thunder God's Wrath. Gives the vision around the corner. You need that one attack, the movement speed. It's almost enough, and there it is. That's going to be it for the Clinks. And he's hitting level 9 now after being crushed early on.
He had a second to notice with the ultimate worn off there, but I guess just concentrating on other things. One of those things you're not always going to see right away as a Slark, even if you play the hero a lot. So Clinks gets a bit of a freebie there and almost has a completed Midas now on Clinks. And definitely a game where I feel Ehome can just play a farming battle here. If they can survive the mid game, their late game with Clinks, with Tiny, and Axe Initiation is looking really solid and something that NewBee Young may not have a good way of dealing with.
Yeah. And with this Creep Wave Axe Initiation, as I was saying before in the mid, it's going to get even better for him. And that's looking towards having his Blink Dagger. But Winter Wyvern's doing a good job of harassing him out of the lane with the shots.
He's so farmed. He's 206, Arcane Boots, 1500 gold.
Courier Death. Everyone get ready for Raz. And you got him. Quick instant TP out. It had nothing on the Courier, but it's just easy money. Not to mention CTY finding more easy money. They're forcing the tier 1 tower on the top. There's no fortification available, and Undying will arrive with both the Flesh Golem as well as the Tombstone up, but you're going to Wisp. You're going to outrun this.
Yep. Tombstone dropped and everything, so I guess there's no tier 1 tower to push on towards anyways, hoping they'd maybe stay around and fight around the tomb, but for now, NewBee Young waiting on a couple of items. They're about 500 gold away from the mech and Undying. They probably want to look to group up a bit around the Undying mech. Maybe it's 4 while the Slark farms elsewhere, because Piao has a long way to catch up before he can really do too much in an engagement.
Sentry Ward going to be taken care of by the creep wave after the bolt from Lanham did the work.
I like this move from NewBee though. They're going to smoke up around Lion's Finger cooldown. They know they kind of need this to get kills.
Instant ping.
Yeah, this is.
You're saying it before. Like either there's a ward there or there's a Clinks right on top of him.
Yeah,
it just makes sense.
They're trying to bait the TA, thinking they really want to kill Tiny again. So they're using the TA as bait, expecting the Tiny to engage in with Dust, the Avalanche to break down the refraction. But for now, that's not happening. And this smoke not going to lead to too much.
Ehome actually making a lot wiser decisions, because all they're looking for is tower trade-off now. RTK is considering the blink into a call, and he's got all the vision in the world to do this.
There's too many.
Like, if they sit here, he can blink call 2 and they relocate in, then it's okay.
The scary thing is you're relocating into an AoE stun in the form of the Impale. There's Finger back online. If you don't burst down the Undying, he drops a Tombstone, and then suddenly you're finding it underneath the zombies. You've got to make sure that call catches 2-3, and then there's an Avalanche toss to burst down at least a couple of those heroes. Looks like they just want to scout out the Roshan, throw Zeus ulti out to be on the safe side. And this is where I think NewBee just go for another smoke, if anything. Pull out another smoke when you can. Unfortunately, the Courier's dead, which prevents them from doing so. They want to find a key pick-off whenever they have Lion Finger. That's the big spell they have to fight around, because that's their main source of damage. With an underfarmed Slark and underfarmed TA, it comes from Finger of Death right now.
Here's that TA flash farming I was searching for. Get SCC back into this game. Still walking around with the double damage rune.
Thinking about Roche, I think, with that.
Yeah.
If he's not using it to farm an Ancient stack, it's to hopefully bypass Ehome's vision and get into the pit. But Radiant Vision is there with the ward. They'd have to smoke past if they want to be sneaky about it.
That's when Wyvern's getting greedy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Midas build.
That is...
That's really dangerous when you got a Clinks on the field that's going to be killing you off. Now, this Tiny just got revealed. Actually, I don't know if you're smoked up beforehand, but there were 4 players from Ehome smoked up, walking towards Roshan. Yeah.
I think they really thought NewBee smoked in there because they had the ward. Even with the ward there, NewBee were just missing off the map for a long time, and I don't think Ehome were aware there's an Ancient Sack. So when you're missing farming an Ancient Sack for a minute, minute and a half, Ehome's thinking, okay, they just smoked into Roshan.
Yep.
Let's go check it out.
But the smoke didn't break when they hit the front door, so...
Then you go try to find a kill, but there was no kill. So I think reasonable move from Ehome. Unfortunately, they kind of misread what was going on the NewBee side.
Well, now they can read it. The DD rune comes in for Templar Assassin and the Illusion, but they're gonna fight bottom. So it's not a Roshan, it's a push to bottom lane and fighting.
They haven't got mech yet.
It's
4, 5, 6.
They got the money for it, but it's
just
too far away.
Yeah, Courier's in use, and this is a slightly risky window, but I think on the Ehome side, even with an Axe Blink, they are not willing to fight into Tombstone, as well as the double damage TA. That's the other kind of assurance NewBee have right now.
Yep.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Just straight tower trade. Tower trading up against a Clink to Lanham's waiting for this. He's in the pretty close. Not a lot of mana on him, even though he does have the Soul Ring available. So the Tier 1 tower's killed off by the Slark on bottom, starting into that Shadow Blade of his. While ROTK is waiting for a right moment to pounce, and he tries to do it on the TA. Relocates on the way in, which means Avalanche, it's going to connect, and the Templar Assassin not down yet. The Finger of Death will connect. It's a Whisper at TA, well worth the trade. Until they can keep their Tiny alive, it won't be the perfect trade, however. And there's your call from ROTK. It keeps Piao locked in position. Now they can dunk him down, tossing in Lanham, but CTY going to get locked down by the Winter Wyvern, killed off in fact. The two set of drop two, so Lanham knows he's dead. No way to survive. Line will actually be sheltered in the cold embrace.
I've never seen a Winter Wyvern own this hard before. This is just unreal. How much farm he's getting, how much he's doing in these fights. He showed up at the right time to kill the Tiny that time around.
But his farm's not doing anything. It's actually the timing of his abilities and the synergy he's getting with the rest of NewBee.
The levels also is amazing. And this is before he even has a Midas. He's got max Cold Embrace as well as the max Splinter Blast. He's doing a lot of damage consistently with the spam of Splinter Blast. And having that fast Arcane Boots has been a huge asset to his team.
Yeah. The hilarious thing is, too, like this Arctic Burn, which is like the initial thing. It's like what we talked about, like the harassment in the lane. Like, it was even effective at level 1. It never has to change it.
And it scales pretty well when you level it up. Like, it's very early levels, it's just the one value point you go for. But you get down to a 20-second cooldown later on once you have it maxed out. And he's going to get there pretty fast with this Midas pickup. So Tiny with a completed Acceptor now. CTY.
And Dying's a little too far out there. I think should be very happy he's alive.
Has mech completed. I imagine NewBee Young going to be eyeing off Roshan now that they've got the kind of items they need to fight around with the mech online. Once they have Finger of Death, I think that's the one ulti they still have to be very dependent on. That was how they killed the Wisp in that bottom fight. And at this point, it's going to be Ehome having to be constantly aware of a potential Roshan threat.
I don't want to be spending too much time around that bottom lane worried about Roshan, though. Because if that keeps happening, they're going to get really tight. And this Tiny still needs, like, I'm not going to say space to farm, considering it has an Aghanim Scepter pre 20 minutes, so that's kind of freak out. Yeah, I got a connection problem. No, we had worse problems earlier. We actually, for some reason, like, we had like 5 minutes of like one frame every 10 seconds. And then, hey presto, it all starts working again. So, yeah, I don't know. But now they're going in.
And it looks like this timing they're going to get, you could say, a bit fortunate. This time Ehome are not at least currently in a position to scout it out.
He can't deward this. If he dewards this, he reveals the fact that Roshan's happening. Because right now, DDC and CTY, they're so close, but they're only farming up the jungle.
The Wyvern's position, kind of expecting a smoke towards him as well. He's outside the piss. Zeus ulti comes in. I think NewBee Young have to at least regroup a little bit. Now they'll look to deward, get map control, and probably wait till they feel comfortable to go back in. They want to push out the lanes. One of the really nice things in that they pushed out all the T1 towers means if they push out the lanes ever, it's really hard for Ehome to get in a good position to come back and contest Roshan because they don't have those T1 towers as access points to get close to Roshan in quick time.
It's hunt time. It's hunt time with the Slark. It's going to run in.
Well, this is... Yeah, there we go. That's the hero you want.
Yep. He just wanted the Wisp. Pounce down with the Dark Pack. DDC, though. Oh, the Finger of Death is going to reach him. The Tiny was backing up. In fact, now he's going to... Oh, wow. He actually got to the tree line. They didn't know he was there. He thought he was just running away to safety.
If they'd got that kill, that would have meant Roshan. That would have been huge. They may get Roshan off of this anyways, but that would have been a big pickup. Either way, NewBee Young still starting to get some momentum. despite not finding the Tiny there, but Ehome just playing a war of attrition here. They're looking to farm to victory.
You're running a Clinks. You think you've got momentum, and then he's just melting down a tower before you're really ready for it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. Like, you kill off a Wisp, and you commit a large amount of heroes to do this, but you lose your tier 1 tower directly after that. And this Clinks is getting bigger and bigger. Like, the Hand of Midas now comes off cooldown. He's got no creeps, unfortunately.
He's going for the tier 2 tower up top. But
yeah. Well, just force the fortification. No one's going to come and fight you when you've got a double damage Clinks with buff up as well. And they actually, yeah, they can actually not use the fortification. Wait, hang on. Yeah, they did. They lost the tier 1 tower. Yeah, they used the fortification. When did it go out?
Used recently, about 30 seconds ago. Maybe they messed it up with the tier 1 tower. Well, again,
I think so. I think they actually did.
You're trying to kind of race a push against the tiny
bottom lane. They're in. They're under the tier 3 tower. They just brought down the axe. They're actually pushing the tier 3 tower. We're in a base race situation with the Clinks and the Tiny going up against a Templar Assassin and a Slark. And they are actually winning this one. Ehome, the NewBee are doing a pretty damn good job to keep up. The tower's here. They're coming back. They're coming back now. Winter Wyvern actually embracing the Clinks and actually being beaten down by CTY. He almost killed his own teammate unwillingly. The stuns will arrive. CTY is very, very low. He's going to drop down as well. You will have Clink survive. The tier 3 tower is in deny range. The catapult card, he can't finish the job.
Bottom lane, Slark is still fighting here, but looks like Piao not going to get the best of ROTK. That was well played by NewBee Young. I'm looking at this like, okay, they're not really winning this base race. Ehome had TPs. Clinks and Tiny knew exactly what they were doing. They had TPs. Wisp was sitting behind with a relocate ready, and they're like, okay, we'll base race you. We'll take the Raxes, TP back, and then defend just by fighting with a relocate back in. But NewBee Young made it look like they were going for the base trade and then suddenly TP'd back, caught them out. Really nice pickoffs. They unfortunately didn't get the Clinks. That would have been a massive win for them if they got all 3 of the Ehome pushing heroes. But even without, they're still in a great position now. They could go for another push.
Well, here they come. RTK caught out of position. The stuns are going to arrive. And the mech charge bringing the Slark back up as well as the 1 charges. So you've got Axe on the sideline. But then all of a sudden, welcome to the Clinks. He just takes down 1. He had help from the Zeus for the first one. And then you got Templar Assassin blinking herself away to safety. So NewBee Y, they really thought they could just take advantage of this. I don't think they really... Actually, yeah, they found Lion. They actually found Lion. They've lost vision of him for the moment. He's in the tree line, and then Clinks will finally melt him down. And that's a big streak too. Lion actually had a streak.
Wow. The NewBee Young supports have both played ridiculously well. Lion has got a lot of farm with his Blink, now picks up a Ghost Scepter. Winter Wyvern has a Glimmer Cape Midas. These 2 supports have been big playmakers, kind of helping out the TA and the Slark, who both got really badly beaten down in lane.
Yeah. Compared to the supports of Ehome, like, what are the Ehome supports even meant to do? you look at their net worth, they're 5.2k, and they're slowly coming back up again. But they're just sacrificial lambs more than anything else. It's not Zeus is an ultimate, and Wisp is a relocate.
Yeah, and you can look at Zeus, he's got 2 kills, 8 assists. It looks good on paper, but realistically, his impact has not been that great this game. Apart from his scouting ultimates, which has been really important for Ehome, but your normal Zeus is getting a lot more done in a fight and just in general.
NewBee Y want to finish this in, like, very short amount of time. Look at SCC. His money, he's so close. He does not want to die right now. But he's got no choice. The Organ's on him, and now in comes Undying. You do have that Soul Rip, but it's not enough to keep him alive. Plus, the mech, it wasn't enough. Now with your double stump Finger of Death, make sure you isolate CTY. Perfectly done. CTY will drop with the Wisp. The Templar Assassin is a sacrificial lamb, but she already has both of her Mithril Hammers. This Desolator is arriving, and NewBee are just going to push through bottom.
Yeah. NewBee are winning all the little fights they choose to take. The problem's always like they've got to bring 4 heroes. They keep killing the Tiny. This is 4th death, but Clinks and Axe, they're always somewhere else on the map farming. Ehome are just generally a lot more efficient around the map. They're getting farm in the jungle, farm in multiple lanes. So even when these pickoffs are happening,
they got a gem. This is a big pickoff. The gem reveals the Clinks. There's nowhere to hide. He's leashed up, and this could be bottom Rax.
It's tricky. They have to bring the creep wave through mid. I don't see them getting a Rax off of this, but it's still great pickoffs. Maybe Roshan is what they'll go for instead. Yeah, they're pinging it out. TA's just respawn. Should TP maybe to the bottom tier 2, but it's going to make the walk.
She's got to turn the courier. Yeah. She's got to turn the courier right now. The courier's walking around with a Mithril Hammer. It's got the end of the Desolator on it.
Oh, no. Like, maybe bringing the TP. I think wanted the TP scroll as well. Yeah, it was on purpose.
Okay. Because if Axe now kills her off, he's going to be very... If Axe actually kills the courier, he'll be even sadder.
Are they going for the TA kill with relocate?
They would love to, but now she's got the Desolator. She's going to blink inside the pit. So
and Ehome know this, but I don't know if they can. They can't really get here in time.
They can't contest. Like if you contest this, you die. It's just that simple.
Well, suddenly NewBee Young in a decent-ish position. They're still getting outfarmed by Tiny as well as Clinks, but they're fighting well. They've got an Aegis they can use to their advantage.
They got a Glimmer Cape on Winter Wyvern.
As well as 1,300 gold on top of that. We could be seeing all kinds of luxury items come out.
This is the most successful Winter Wyvern I have ever seen.
I'm not a hero we've seen too much of. Here and there's been a few teams who play it, but this has been a very impressive showing.
They're coming to commit murder. No, you got CTY with the Mana Style, but that's perfect timing. And this is when Zeus pays for himself. DDC as well as CTY got to get the hell out of here.
Can they get out in time, though?
Actually, I think they have to relocate out to safety. Like they're going to attempt a TP. CTY...
He's been scouted. He can't TP.
His TP was on cooldown. His TP was actually still on cooldown, only just came off cooldown, and now he can try and fight with the Avalanche and cleave, but it's just not enough.
Even with the Zeus ulti, they still couldn't get out of there. That is huge. I think as soon as that Zeus ulti scouted them, you just had to relocate the Tiny out.
Agreed.
Yes, Wiz pays it for it with his life, but
it may have also been miscommunication. Like, it may not be like, my TP's still on cooldown, let's just go to the trees and we'll be fine.
This is where Ehome, though, is still in an okay position. They can split push the victory, but the problem is they're getting caught out doing this, and Winter's Curse on YJ, he's done for. They are just getting kill after kill on the NewBee Young side. This is an Ehome team who are not looking as dominant as you would expect.
They may lose more. RTK, okay, you're not going to see in that. The TP, they did see it eventually.
Yeah, the blink was available, but MK didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
It would have got him in range, but yeah, without the information. The TA trap is what originally slowed him down. That's the reason for the Axe to TP out, not just walk away. Because he had Force Up and Blink Dagger.
And it looks like NewBee Young maybe pushing this bottom lane. The split push threat isn't there. With Tiny and Clinks both dead, you're not suddenly worried about those other lanes. And if you push bottom, you're forcing a fight. The other problem is Clinks respawns in base. He doesn't have anything to death pack, so it's not like he's going to have that big HP and damage boost if you go for the fight. But for now, Piao is not at the bottom lane. He can still make his way down there and join up with his team for that high ground siege. Neither tower. There we go.
Had to be done.
It was like 11 HP. I saw SEC running forward, like, ready to blink. He blinked as it got denied.
It's time. It's time for NewBee Y. If they can win this fight, they win the game. That's really what it comes down to, because then they can just ravage the base of Ehome, even if the tier 2 towers are still up. But they jump in.
He called without blinking. That was, well, hey, it's not going to cost him too much. He can wait for the cooldown, but...
Yep. Just tossing in random Tinies. PA is still being dropped down, but bit by bit they're trying to whittle away at these racks. Without the creep wave, though, they can't remain in there.
They're going to keep trying to heal up as much. Get TA back to full and rinse.
Slark at the Cragley almost instantly. Now the call comes in from RTK. It locks down the Undying. The Finger of Death. That's not enough to kill off the Clinks. He'll survive. The Templar Assassin being tossed up like a ragdoll. Going to respawn up into the world of living because the Aegis is the Immortal. And you're still Undying on the front lines. The stuns from Lion controlling up Lion. He's out of mana at the moment, but you've got Clinks available. They're able to put him down. And in fact, now as the Clinks can't... actually, yeah, he can finish off a little bit of him. Maybe now. No, he's down for the count. RTK running back behind his own tier 2 tower, but there's nowhere safe inside the Radiant base, and all 5 players remain alive here for NewBee.
The good news is you've got some tier 2 towers. The bad news is it's practically over. This is bottom racks gone. They may go for tier 4s. Unfortunately, there's no other lane of racks they can go for, so
just go for the GG push.
You're not going to get the throne. You can maybe get 1 or 2 tier 4s off of this, but they're going to go for the top lane now, so
it seems safe.
It's the safer way. You go for a couple tier 4s. By the time you finish off maybe the second tier 4, Ehome are respawning. You're really close to their fountain. Suddenly you're getting caught up by a blink call and Tiny follow-up. So it's a safe option. And guess what? They've still got 30 seconds on Axe, 20 seconds on Clinks. This is at least 2 lanes of racks here. And
And like, where are your buybacks even? Like, these guys are going to respawn back up again. Axe already used, like, that was a dieback from ROTK during the last fight. And there's not enough money on the other Ehome players, but every single player for NewBee Y has buyback, and they just jump. They just jump all over Lanham, and that Zeus, well...
Oh, they're going for the split push. Ehome have taken mid-racks, though. On the respawn, they went for the relocate, so they get something in return, but they've lost 2 lanes here. Bought themselves some time for the TA Aegis. Well, TA Aegis actually got used up in that last fight, but still a very difficult game for Ehome at this point.
That was
the right move, though.
Yeah, that's a terrific trade when you think about it, because it keeps them in this game.
Yes.
Like, it would have been so easy for them just to lose this game hands down by losing your 2 side racks and getting nothing in return. But the fact that mid lane had that much momentum, that's almost a fault of NewBee Y, not leaving one person in there just to drag the creep wave off to the side or something along those lines.
Well, they could have just TP back one hero, and I guess it's who is that one hero. You TP back Undying, you lose your team fight. You TP back Line, you lose your gem and your lockdown.
Yeah.
Maybe Winter Wyvern's the hero you TP back and just use the Splinter Blast to push things out.
But at the same time, he's been such a huge factor during the fights, you don't want to remove him.
There's no
Plus
one hero.
that also removes your Glimmer then.
There's no. I guess Slark is probably the best hero. They should have TP'd back much earlier, but it's easy to say that in hindsight. And they were just like, sweet, we've got 2 lanes of Raxes. This game's looking really, really good for us right now. And suddenly it's like, oh, I guess we haven't won just yet. But that was still about close to like 15,000 gold swing over the last 5 minutes with NewBee Young really pulling far ahead. They're getting luxury items. Line has an Aghanim Scepter, for Christ's sake. This support duo has just been insane.
Love that damage. RTK is going to jump in, looking for the call. They are able to bring down Undying a little bit lower, but it's not enough to find the kill. They'll lose RTK. CTY trying to set his ground here, but DDC a primary focus. The Finger of Death wasn't enough. Now CTY is isolated. The Desolator has removed a large amount of his life, but it's not enough to find the kill. And in fact, now the Templar Assassin going to be put under here by the Winter Wyvern. It's not enough to keep him alive. Zeus will end the spree with a huge amount of money. Almost 1,100 gold for it. They pick up the Winter Wyvern as well, and you just successfully defended your mid lane, which is going to push back out again.
Okay. This is definitely where, if you're a NewBee Young, you're thinking, okay, we haven't won yet. Let's calm down a second. Let's regroup. Let's go back to the formula that's working. Wait for Roshan, grab another Aegis. Use smokes to find a pick off here and there. Don't just go thinking, hey, we won the last couple of fights. We took 2 lanes of racks. We can just brute force our way through mid lane. Because this time around, Clinks made a better decision, focused on the Tombstone, whereas last fight, the Tombstone was at the bottom racks alive the entire duration. This time around, they realized, hey, look, we're 30 minutes in the game, but that really caused a lot of problems for us.
So he's actually just got shy of 1,600 gold from that one kill.
Suddenly money starts rolling on in.
He's got enough for like the 3 1k items. You could be looking at a quick Aghanim to come out from this Zeus, or potentially some other form of disable up against NewBee.
Maybe a Veil even, so they can get some more damage. There's no BKB on many heroes.
He goes for the blink.
There, he sells it, gets Veil. I think this is there's no BKB on anyone. This is just a great item considering the magic. They've got decent magic damage from Zeus, even the tiny combo. I think this is the right item to go.
I actually think NewBee Y might have just lost this game. And I don't want to say that when their 2 side racks is up, but you got a BKB that's now also arrived on the Clinks. So you've got his survivability, a full 10-second BKB up from him. The Tiny is flash farming up as well. He's a recipe away from finishing up the Assault Kuros. And what have you got really in return? This Slark is starting to look a little bit more pathetic. He's got Skadi and Shadowblade 33 minutes in. That's not bad, but I don't think it's enough up against
5 carries. That's what you've got, Toby. 5 heroes with 10k net worth. It's not a 2 carry lineup.
I know, but still.
I want to see what these like Wyverns buying. Like, what do you do when you have 3k gold in a Winter Wyvern? Does he get something like not really a Veil lineup, but
I'd almost want to say a Scythe of Vice in this list. Like just to control the Tiny. But
absolutely. I guess you don't want the game to go that long. You want to buy an item which can end the game.
But he's got 3K. It's not that long to get to it.
Maybe it's Lotus Orb. Not really a great Lotus Orb game. I'm not sure.
Maybe you take a hero out. Like, you can try and go for something even like a Yule Scepter.
Oh, they put RTK. He has no buyback too.
He force-staffed himself up onto the hill, which isn't where he... Actually, no, it's exactly where he meant to go.
They don't know,
but
barely.
Templar Assassin can arrive.
Very close to getting a blink out. They lost complete vision of him. He almost survived.
Okay. You know how I thought maybe Ehome could be coming back in this? I then saw the TA's money after having the Daedalus and the Deso.
Yeah, that's probably a BKB coming next for SCC. That's all he needs. Just BKB, right-click down the buildings. Yeah, Clinks does some right-click damage, but if Clinks gets you really low, there's the Cold Embrace. There's good sustain.
Toss an Avalanche, take care of the creep wave, as well as half the life of the Slark. But he'll back up and regenerate quickly. They're coming out a long, long way. The Glimmer Cape will be able to protect the Winter Wyvern, and they lose the Clinks.
That was super aggressive from Clinks. He went in really deep. Then he got baited to stay because of the Tombstone. He's like, okay, I can take out the Tombstone, but the Tombstone's placed outside the base. You don't even need to kill it.
No buyback. Lanham with a Finger of Death as well. It splits the damage out. They relocate CTY out to safety. But now CTY still got so much work he's going to do, so he makes more of himself with the Mana Style. The mid-racks, or the tier 3 tower remaining alive due to fortification, but that's the only thing that stands between NewBee as well as taking out this mid.
It's over. There's no coming back at this point. They just keep on getting caught out, and NewBee Young just forcing Ehome into making bad decisions.
They want to keep giving it a shot, man. CTY, if he dies here though, like there is buyback. They do still have buyback over on this Tiny, so he keeps trying to cleave it out.
The 20-second cooldown Finger of Death comes out the second time in that fight. And Ehome get majorly upset here by NewBee Young.
Yeah. This is... That's just really, really solid play. Solid laning. I just want to put it down to that. Like, but the funny thing is, like, CTY still had a really great start. ROTK was not shut down at all. The Clinks was the primary one who was controlled.
Yes, it was... I still don't feel like the Clinks getting dominated in lane by the Undying was what led to their downfall as well, because